up, producers? Hope you're doing well. It's your boy Matt from Music Producer School. Today, we're doing part two of making a song. So we're gonna get right into it pretty quickly here, so we can try and get as much done as possible. And I just wanted to also say thank you to everybody that's been following along. We just reached over 20,000 members on the Facebook page. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And also in our Facebook music producer community, um, be sure to go join that if you haven't already. That's link is in the Facebook comments. It's free, but it's a private community where I go and listen to your stuff. I go listen to your tracks there on Saturdays after our regularly scheduled class. So if you'd like for me to listen to some of your tracks, you can go post them there, and that's the Music Producer School community. The link is in the Facebook comments. Be sure to share this stream. Say hello if you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. And we started off a couple days ago getting this little demo that I had showed you that I've had for a little while. We're gonna go ahead and just turn this thing into a complete song. And if I'm going a little bit slow for some of the more advanced people out there, stick around because you definitely will, I think, still pick up some tips and tricks. I always enjoy watching other people so I can see their workflow and see how they do things because it'll give me ideas. I mean, even to this day, I have a pretty good idea how to do this stuff, but I still enjoy watching other people's process. So we started out last week, or I'm sorry, last class. I started out with this just simple piano vocal thing, and I'll go ahead and play that really quickly for you so you can get up to speed if you missed it on the last class.
One more day, it feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance, you let a good love slip through your hands. And ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is dance. All I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so pretty basic. The first thing we're going to get started with here is, as y'all know, if you've been watching for a little bit, I am very, very particular about staying organized. So I am going to, hey, what's up, Snappy? I think I listened to one of your tracks in the producer community this past weekend, I believe. Thanks for saying what's up, all the way from Nigeria, West Side. That's what's up. Thanks for saying hello. So the first thing I want to do here, the name of this song is called All I Can Do Is Dance, and you'll notice it's named 1.1. So as I've told y'all before, when I work on a track, I'll name it, 1.1, and then if I come back later that day and change something, I'll name it 1.2. And then if I come back again, 1.3, and I'll just kind of increment that way. But when I come back on another day to work on a track, I will then change the first number. So since this is day 2, I'm now doing All I Can Dance, and I'm doing Save As 2.1. And that way, eventually down the line, if I screw something up, it's easier for me to remember how to go back to where I started from. And that way you don't, it gives you a little more freedom when you're more conscious of saving as and making multiple copies like this, because you don't have to be worried like, oh, I don't want to change something because if I screw it up, I'm not going to be able to get back to it. It allows you to experiment a little more freely. So the first thing I want to do today is I want to work on these chords, and that's kind of the main thing that we're going to do today. And again, I'm taking this super slow for all the beginners out there because I want to get everybody up to speed on how this process works. So I'm going to take it pretty slow, but today we're going to work mainly just on getting some good chords going. So let me bring this to the beginning here. And you can see we have 24 bars here, right? And that's basically the whole song that we have at the moment. So I have a 16 bar verse right here, and then the chorus starts right here.
All I can do is, all I can do is, all.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna mute rather the vocal at the moment, and let's take a look at these chords. Okay, decent. I'm gonna copy this track and I'm gonna get rid of all of the stuff. So I have the same exact instrument, piano here, but I'm going to keep this up here. And let me see if I can actually make this a little bigger so it's easier for you to see what I'm gonna be doing here. And I don't need to be viewing my return tracks at the moment. What's up, Rahat? Doing well. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it. So if y'all are just joining, I'm working on this track that I just kind of laid down the quick little demo vocal for in the last class. It's called All I Can Do Is Dance, and it's going to be obviously a dance track. So let me show y'all how I do this. So the first four, I just have the same 4 bars repeating here with the chords, right? And then it just repeats. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into, because the first thing you want to do is just get the basic chord structure, right? So the second thing I want to do is now I'm going to go into my MIDI chord bank, and I think I've showed y'all this before. It's available on my website at musicproducer.school. This is basically going to allow me to take a look at these chords. So I'm going to just put the 4 chords in focus here. So it's the same 4 chords just repeating, right? So the MIDI chord bank allows me to replace these basic chords with some more interesting chords. So I know I have an A minor here, right? So I'm going to go into my A folder and I'm going to start looking for some minor chords here. So I'm going to go down. I have A minor 7 here. Let's see what that sounds like. So I'm going to mute the first track with the original regular chords, and now I'm just listening down here to these newer chords. So I like that better already, as opposed to this. So you can see here I have 4 notes in this chord. In the original chord, I only have 3 notes. So that's going to kind of give me a little more flavor, if you will. Let me try this A minor major 7. I don't think that's going to work because that's the major. Yeah, I don't want that. I like this minor 7 here. So the same thing for my C. I'm going to go into my C folder. And when you do these sevenths tend to sound pretty good when you put them together. So I'm also going to try a C major 7th here. Okay, so I'm liking that. Same thing with my D minor. Let's see if we can find a minor 7 and see what that sounds like. Let's try a minor 6 first. No. That actually could be cool somewhere later on. But I'm going to go with the D minor 7 here. Okay, that works. Yeah, these 7s tend to work, especially for this genre that I'm doing, which is dance music. Yes, Rahat, I'm doing a whole song right now. I'm taking it step by step, very slowly. So I'm going to be doing this over the course of quite a few classes here. But today we're just focusing on these chords. So again, I started out with these very basic minor and major chords. So up here I'm listening. And now I'm putting in some newer, more interesting chords down here. And let's go ahead and put that F major 7th from the MIDI chord bank. I'm just using, I have all these keys, as you can see, laid out, every key. All I got to do is look at the original chord I want to replace. I go into my F folder, and I have literally hundreds of chords in this MIDI chord bank pack. And don't forget, you can get that at my website, which is musicproducer.school. So there's my F major 7. So let's see our new chords now. Yeah, much better. So listen to the originals one more time. And now the new chords. All right, cool. I'm liking that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my MIDI down here. And let me get me out of the way so I can bring this up a little bit. And I'm going to take the bass notes from all of these chords now, and I'm going to copy them down one note. And then when I hit shift down arrow, it brings it down an octave. But I need to go back up that one note that I used to copy the note. So basically, I'm just copying the bass note one octave down to give it a little more power. And I'm going to do the same thing for my C major. Copy down, octave, up, octave down now. Yeah, that's sounding nice. So the same thing here. I'm just getting these lower octave bass notes in here. And let's listen to this all the way through now. All right, sweet. So let's listen to this now. Let's listen to this now with our vocal. So we went from the basic, boring kind of stuff up here. That's about as basic of a chord progression as you could get. And then very quickly, using my MIDI chord bank and adding some bass notes, we have this now. Let me pop my vocal in.
One more day. It feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance. You let a good love slip through your hands. And ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is dance. All I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. I'm liking that. Yeah, Rahat, if you're looking for the rest of the classes, let me show you really quickly. Let me show, if anybody else out there is just kind of coming a little late to any of this, let me show you where you can go to get all of the classes. So just go to Facebook, on Facebook, the Music Producer School, which is my page here. Let me give it a second to pop up for you. All right, there we go. So look, if you go, I'm going to view this as a visitor so you see exactly what it'll look like for you. So when you go to the Music Producer School page, if you go to videos right here, this tab, and you can also do this on your phone as well. If you go to videos, it will show you right here this playlist. So you can also see the latest videos. So for example, if you missed the class from 2 days ago, it's right here. Let's Make a Song Part 1. And if you want to see all of the classes that I've done so far, you can go to this playlist right here called Live Classes, and it will show you, this is all of the classes that I've done so far. So let me go in and let me see if I can comment on. I'll put the link directly in there for you. And that should help clear that up for you guys. Okay, so I'm liking this chord progression. Now, we started off with very basic chords. We also started off with, we're just doing the chords on the downbeats, on the quarter notes. So when we count out a measure, it's just right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll count along really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, right? So we all know how to count that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start adding a little bit of rhythm to these chords. So I'm gonna listen one more time, and what I'm doing in my head when I'm listening to this, I'm kind of counting out the beat, and I'm thinking about where I can put these chords to make them sound a little more interesting. So I'm putting up my grid to the quarter notes, and actually, this is another kind of little tip that if you're not familiar with it, you might not recognize it at first, but a lot of especially dance music is kind of built on the upbeats. The upbeat is what gives you that sense of urgency. It makes you want to dance. So it's not just 1, 3, 4, 2, 2. It's 1 and 1 and. So that and 1 and 2 and 3 and. That's what gives it that kind of bounce when people want to dance, right? So I'm going to be thinking, where can I put some of these chords on those upbeats? So let's take a listen again.
One more day.
So already right there, I'm thinking, okay, let's put the C coming in on that downbeat right there. And then I'm going to take all of my notes here, and I want to make sure it's not repeating the chord. I want the chord to hold out the same way. So let's see that.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away.
Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the F. And I want to make sure that my F chord goes the whole way here. So let's check this out.
One more day.
And also another tip, when you're first writing like this, it might be easier for you if you put the metronome on and you can hear a little beat. That'll help you listen and hear these beats better.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away.
All right, cool. I'm liking that. Now the other thing I'm hearing here is we're just doing these four chords. It would be cool if we could maybe add in like a little kind of quick jump, like walk up chord into this F. So I'm thinking if we're going C, D, F, a good in-between chord to jump from D to F would probably be E. So let me go into my songwriter chords here. I know that I'm in the key of A minor because that's what I'm starting with, and that's the key that it's based around. So I'm gonna go again. I have these MIDI chord bank and the songwriter chord bank. The songwriter chord pack is both on. Those are two separate packs on my website if you want to check those out. So in A minor, what do I have between D and F? Well, I have an E minor here, and I also have my E minor 7. So let me see if I can maybe toss that E minor 7 in here some kind of way. Let me see what that E minor 7 looks like. I'm going to create a new MIDI track to pull it in, because I know I just want to do it short, and I know that this is my upbeat right here. If I put it on in between measures 3, beat 3, and beat 4. So this is my upbeat right here. So let me shorten this and see if I just kind of quickly toss it there, what that sounds like.
Feels like you threw my heart.
Okay, I was a little early. So let's see if we can maybe, if we got to scoot it over a little bit like that.
Feels like you threw my heart.
No, let's try and scoot it over a little more. Yeah, I think it's on the downbeat it's going to be.
Feels like you threw my heart.
All right, sweet. I like that. So I'm going to consolidate this. And now I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to copy this bass note down. Let me pull this up for you guys so you can see what I'm doing here. So this is my chord right here. This is my whole chord. I'm going to copy the bass note down one note, and then with shift down arrow, I'm bringing it down a whole octave, and then I got to shift it back up that one note to get it back to an octave. I'm just shifting it down that note because if I want to copy this note, this bass note right here, I have to, in order to copy it, I can't copy it on top of itself. I have to option click and drag like this. I could just drag it all the way down like that, is fine too. I just like to copy it quickly and use the shortcuts. So now I have my bass note in there. So let me bring this back down. So now we've got our bass note in there, and let's listen to that little jump.
Feels like you threw my heart away.
All right, sweet. So let's listen to that whole passage now.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away. One last.
All right, sweet. I'm liking that. So I'm going to copy this to the second part of my verse. Now remember, this is 8 measures right here, which is my verse. And let me bring in my verse again so we can see. So this is the old chords on the top. This is the new chords. I don't need this. So again, I like for people to think in sections of stuff, right? So I'm going to do this section of 8 bars, which is the first half of my verse. And then I have another section of 8 bars, which is the second part of my verse. And then we're going to start in the chorus. So I'm going to start putting in some locators here too, so we can see. That's my chorus. This is my verse. I'm going to call this verse A. And I'm going to call this over here verse B. So we know that it's kind of 2 separate sections.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance. You let a good love slip through your hand.
Okay, so I'm going into my next section here. And like I said to y'all before, I want to change something every section, right? So in this next section, what I'm thinking I could do is, instead of copying the bass notes, since we already did that, what about if I took maybe, say, like the top note? Or maybe not even the top note. Let's see. Let's see if we copied this C up high. So I'm copying this C, and I'm going to give it a little bit more velocity so it'll poke out. Same thing for the for my C chord here. Let's copy this B. Give it a little more. Little more velocity here. So these are all at 100. These are, let's bring this down to 100. Let's see if we can copy one here. So we're going from a C up high to a B. Let's copy this C again. You don't have to make it complicated. We just want something different happening on top. So in the beginning, I had that low bass note. Now I'm adding something on top to change it up. Again, always try to just think in opposites. So here, same thing. Copy that E up there. And now we have something happening on top that's a little bit different. All right, and I'm missing here my E minor chord. So I want to be sure to put that in. Oh, and we didn't, that's my bad. We didn't copy over. That's a important thing there, is we need to make sure we copy over to the second section our first part of the chorus. So let's do that again really quickly. We did a C on top. Velocity over here. We have a B that we put on top. Velocity all the way up. This D chord, I did the C again up top. The E, I just put that D up top. Velocity all the way up so we can hear it. And then this one for the F, I'm going to bring... Let's try this G. Okay, so let's see what this sounds like. I like using this E instead, so let's see what this one sounds like now. Okay, so again, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here, but another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make these bass notes. In the first section, my bass note velocity is at 100. 100. 100. I'm just checking all my bass notes here. 100. 100, yeah, so we're all at 100. So again, to kind of start changing things up a little bit, in this next section, I'm going to put all my bass notes to 127, which is the max. So it's going to be a subtle thing, but the listener is going to start hearing these little changes in the velocity, which is, you got to remember, it's kind of, you're trying to replicate a piano player. So as things start to build, the energy's starting to build. If this was a musician playing this, they're going to start hitting those keys a little bit harder. So I want to start putting in these subtle little changes here with the velocities, so that way the listener starts saying, okay, I feel the energy starting to build in this passage. So I'm putting all my bass notes up here. So let's listen to that. Okay, I need a copy over the high stuff that we just did. All right, I like that. So I'm going to take... So now let's just focus on this last part for the chorus and get a little something going for this now. So again, the chorus is starting to build here, so I'm highlighting all of my notes and I'm putting the velocity up for all of them, because we're starting to really build some energy here. So I'm just highlighting, bringing my velocities up so that the notes are being played as loud, as hard as they can possibly be played here.
All I can do is dance. All I can do is
So let's see if we can start getting a little bit of rhythm going here. So I'm going to back these clips off a little bit so that way I have a little wiggle room to do some stuff with the rhythms. So I'm thinking something like repeat this chord on the second. So I'm kind of counting in my head. I'm thinking da 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 da. So I'm gonna loop just this part right here. Upbeat right there. Nope, let's try and scoot it back. Yeah, and then let's do this on the upbeat here. So I like that rhythm. That's the rhythm that I want to roll with. So I'm just going to apply that rhythm, and I'm just kind of looking. Let me bring this down so y'all can see a little bit better. So I got this 1 bar rhythm right here, right? Well, now I want to just apply this same rhythm to the second chord. So I'm just literally looking over to the bar before it, and I'm just taking my new chord now, and I'm copying it over. So that should be 2 bars now. And then the same thing here for my D minor. And then I'm just doing the exact same rhythm for my F. Now the other thing though is because I forgot to copy over my original thing here, I'm not having that C come in early like I did before, like right here on that upbeat. So let's see if that's going to be okay or if I need to replicate that too. So let's see if maybe if I bring my C in early right here, let's see what that sounds like. Let's try that. Now let's cut in the vocal and see what happens with that. That's the most important. I kind of like it the way we had it. So let's copy that over. And we still probably come back and change the rhythm of this, but again, we're just starting to get an idea. Like, I have no idea where this song is headed, so I'm just kind of going like I normally would. I mean, this is how I produce a song, just kind of seeing where it takes me. So let's see what this all sounds like together. And that's another key takeaway for today. You know, you work on this stuff for a little while, but always try to go back to the beginning and listen to it through in context and see what it sounds like all together now.
One more day, it feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance, you let a good love slip through your hands. And ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is dance. All I can do is dance. Yeah.
All right, cool. So what I'm going to do here is, because I kind of chopped this stuff up with my rhythm, I'm going to consolidate these MIDI clips just according to what chord they're on. So this was my A, my C, my D, my F, my A, my C, my D, and my F. And what that allows me to do is now I can look at these chords that I kind of chop these rhythms up with the clips. I can now look down here and I have all my separated chords in my MIDI region here. So that way I can kind of manipulate these things the way that I would want to in the MIDI stuff down here. So I'm just cropping off the extra in these clips, because I don't like to be distracted with extra MIDI notes that I don't need to be worried about. So these are our consolidated chorus clips now, right? So let's see really quickly what happens if I was to take all these chords that I'm using and start maybe bringing them up in an octave, so that way we could kind of get things a little bit closer together. Same thing here. Let's try that. And again, we're just kind of experimenting, but let's see what it sounds like.
All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance.
Okay, I'm liking the way that works. I'm not liking the actual sound of it necessarily, but this is part of the process. We need to just experiment a little bit. So you see how we kind of, just from looking at it visually, we're kind of building up this ramp going up, right? With the chords.
All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance.
So maybe let's try and take off.
All I can do is,
Let's take off those top notes, because it sounds like it's getting a little bit high. And see what that sounds like.
all I can do is, all I can do.
Now, think about that, okay? The reason I just made that decision to take those high notes off of the top of the MIDI, I'm listening to the vocal. What is the vocal doing? The vocal is going up into that same range as the piano. All I can do is... So I've got a high vocal up in that high range. I've also got those high piano notes happening. So I don't really need both of those things happening at the same time. So that's what cued my ear to listen. Oh, the vocal is going high, so I probably don't need those super high piano notes anymore.
All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance.
So now what I'm thinking about is if I'm going to have some type of drop in this, where it's going to be like, you know, building and then the drop comes and everybody dances and has fun. What I'm thinking is I kind of like almost like creating a fake build here, and then later on in the song when I'm actually about to go into the real drop, that will be when it builds like this staircase, right? So what I mean by that is the first two bars, it starts to go up, and people are going to be like, oh crap, it's coming, but we're going to tease them a little bit, and we're going to take the second two bars down here, and I'm actually going to bring those down. The second two chords, rather, I'm going to bring down. So it goes up, they get a little excited, bring them back down. It goes up, they get a little excited. I'm going to copy this over, we bring them back down. Let's see what that sounds like.
All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So let's one more time really quickly review, and then we're going to call it a day for that, because I think we have some pretty cool chords. I want y'all to listen really quickly what we came from.
One more day. It feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance. You let a good love slip through your hands, and ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So let's listen now what we accomplished today from this very, I mean, that's about as basic and boring as you can get. And now let's listen to our new chords that we came up today.
One more day. It feels like you threw my heart away. One last chance. You let a good love slip through your hands, and ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. All I can do is, all I can do is, all
right, cool. So I got one last quick little thing I want to do here because I'm hearing it in my brain and I don't want to forget it. So this high part right here that we put in with the piano, I'm hearing this little line here. I'm hearing another note in there before we get to the C major chord in the next part. I think it's on the downbeat. Okay, yeah. Because we're doing that thing with the E minor with that short chord. So I'm hearing that melody on top right there. That's why I wanted to put in this note right here. So let's copy that over to our second part of the verse B. So really quickly, just to show y'all a little trick with this, I was hearing that high part right there. I'm going to create a MIDI track. I'm going to copy this whole thing down to this new MIDI track, right? I'm going to consolidate this whole set of MIDI right here. So I just turned this into one continuous MIDI clip, right? That's all of it. I'm going to take all of this stuff that's not just that very high part, and now I have just the high part right here, and I'm going to treat this as a melody. I'm just going to call it melody. So let me pull in, I'm just going to pull in a very basic, this is the one that comes with Ableton, just called Analog. And I want to get a little bit of a kind of a background lead synth melody thing kind of going. But I don't like that sound. Let's see if we could find something that's a little bit better. Maybe. Well, I switched my instrument there. All right, so that is pretty harsh to my ear, so I don't want that that triangle wave. Let's bring this down an octave. I'm hearing a long kind of a long note, which I may not wind up using. Let's bring this back up. Yeah, I'm kind of liking there's something in there, I think. Let's see if we got some better sounds here. Maybe. Something like this actually might be cool. And then filter it. I like that vibrato. Let's see now also, Ableton has a cool thing in the MIDI effects where I can actually change the note length. Let's see if I shorten this up. Okay, it looks like this note in the beginning is maybe not starting at the right spot. There we go. All right, so now what I'm going to do is put a reverb on this. And I'm going to do a delay right before the reverb. And I'm going to create a very long delay, make it super wet. And it's going to go into this big reverb to kind of push it in the back. All right, so let's see what that sounds like.
Let a good love slip through your hands, and ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain, and all I can do.
So the cool thing about this is I don't necessarily have to use it, but it's going to be just another little piece of something that I can play with later on in the track to kind of add some, I call them the sprinkles on top. So when you get little ideas like that, don't be afraid to put them in there. We might use that, we might not, but at least the next time I come back, I know I have another little, I kind of think of them as like clues. You're trying to produce this song, you don't exactly know where you're going, but you do know that you need to add some more stuff, obviously, to just this piano vocal, right? So anytime you get some inspiration, go ahead and throw them in there and just leave yourself little clues. So that way, the next time we come back, your ears will be fresh. You'll say, oh, I hear what I was trying to do there. Let me try and tweak it a little bit this way. And that's how you can get some fun, interesting stuff going on. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for today. Hope y'all had fun following along. Be sure to go grab the MIDI chord bank or the songwriter chords if you want to be able to do stuff like this quickly like we did today. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you again on Saturday. And go post your music on the Music Producer School community. I want to hear what you guys are producing. All right, peace out.